make an improvement in the information exchange. We're going to propose a solution, and we'll see what are the current outcomes and the conclusions, the main conclusions of the pilot. First of all, the Spanish pilot is being developed by two entities in Spain. One is Zaragoza Logistics Center, and the other one is Fundación Valencia Port. As you may know, Zaragoza Logistics Center is a research and education institute that was established by the government of Aragon with the MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and the University of Zaragoza 10 years ago. We're celebrating this week our 10th anniversary for those that don't know. And then Fundación Valencia Port, which is our partner in this pilot, is a non-profit private entity for research, promotion, and commercial studies in the Valencian region. They are working together with the Port Authority of Valencia, so they are helping with the development of this pilot, and they are of course partners of FUTUREMED project. Okay, as Elisa mentioned before, FUTUREMED project is in the framework of the MED programs with the aim of increase the competitiveness of port systems in the MED area by improving accessibility through the improvement of technology, procedural innovations, and guaranteeing the sustainability of transport. So the aim is to achieve interoperable management information systems and the reduction of externalities. So the pilot is quite focused on the technology side. The FUTUREMED project has three areas of research. One is passengers, the second is cruises, and the third one is freight. So we are focusing on the freight, but with a technological improvement. So we want to make MED ports more attractive in terms of removing current bottlenecks. It means that we are removing bottlenecks not only in the seaport area, but also in the inland area, because what we want is to connect the seaports with the inland terminals, which is the case of our pilot. We want to make transport flows smoother and swifter. We want to increase interaction between port operators, customers, and stakeholders. We're talking about visibility. This project aims to increase visibility across the whole corridor. And we aim integrating the currently fragmented information on ports, characteristics, activities, and specialization. It means that we're going to create an interoperability framework. The interoperability framework is a set of guidelines that will provide, that will explain how the different stakeholders should interact among them to improve communication and to become more efficient. This is the description of our pilot, the Spanish port-hinterland Intermodal information system, so-called. The pilot is going to be developed between the Port of Valencia, which is the first port in containers traffic in Spain. It's going to connect the port, the maritime port, with the railway terminal that is located in Plaza, the biggest logistic park in Europe. We want to improve the efficiency and visibility of intermodal seaport, hinterland, containerized transport corridors on transnational maritime door-to-door transport chains. But we also want to integrate port systems with inland logistics infrastructures. What does it mean? It means that we have a lot of agents, a lot of stakeholders across the whole corridor. Sometimes, the Port of Valencia, in this particular case, has a port community system. And port community system is connected to customs, connected to the shipping, to the shipper, and connected to some public administrations, but it's not connected to most part of stakeholders across the corridor, so they don't have, many times they don't have the information, or they have partial information. So what we aim with this pilot is to improve the visibility and to achieve that from the manufacturer in Plata to the terminal operator at the end of the chain, all people have the information, could exchange information in a more agile way, and the system becomes more efficient. So in this case, we have several stakeholders involved in this pilot. One of them is BSH, but we also have been interviewing the railway operator, which is the ACB, and the railway undertaking, etc., etc. As Elisa mentioned before, the idea is to make this particular application transferable to the rest of ports in the Met area. So in this particular case, we think we will improve or will promote traffic flow in this corridor, since part of the partners here involved, I mean, for example, the railway undertaking in the railway terminal in Plaza is composed by 3 entities: CESEC, which is a transport truck company, Noatum, and Logitren, which is currently a Valencian company. So we think that with this pilot and the improvement of in the communication and exchange of technology, we will improve quite well the visibility and the expectations. Okay, so this is on the left part of the slide. We have the current the information currently exchanged, and on the right-hand side, the development of interoperable IT solutions. So what we want is to simplify procedures. We want to integrate the different involved partners. So currently we have like two types of information exchange: the public administration on the one hand, and the private logistics industry on the other hand. What we can say is that we both speak different languages, in the sense that public administrations are following standard messages such as EDIFACT or messages over web services, or they have mandatory or semi-mandatory solutions. For public administrations, I mean customs, railway infrastructure manager, port authorities, etc., etc. But the private logistic industry are not following. Sometimes they are, but not always. Not always they are following the same languages. They are not standardized, and they have any kind of file format within email. So sometimes they have a lot of paperwork. They communicate by email. They many ways of they have many ways of communication. So we want to simplify those procedures. We want our last objective is no paperless, nothing, just to improve communication across this platform. So for this issue, we want to develop interoperable IT solutions. So we want to use the most extended technologies. We want to use open standards and solutions for that aim. So we're going to provide a common semantic, and we want to align information among all the actors in the corridor. We want to build simple and affordable solutions implemented and supported by SMEs. Of course, the IT solutions must be hosted by the public administrations in terms of confidence and data protection. And they have to be interoperable with existing services provided by the administration. Okay. This is the proposed solutions we want to follow. First of all, we can take a look to the picture. This is the current way in which Valencia Port Community System is working. So they are using, as I told before, they are using EDIFACT messages. They customize in some way those standard messages, and they have a web service portal in which they interact with each actor. So each actor has partial information, but there's no visibility across the whole chain. So what we aim with our proposed solution is to develop adaptations or new services or applications in the different systems, such as port community systems or terminal operating systems or transport management systems. And we are going to create a new complete test platform following standards and specifications, standards such as EDIFACT, AD standards, and UMM, and of course EBE XML, BPSS, Business Process Specification Schema, and EBE XML CCTS Core Components Technical Specification, which communicates data in common terms. So with those adaptations, we'll be able to generate messages, we'll be able to generate the business model, and we'll be able to generate the semantic for communication among all the actors. Of course, there are some drawbacks that we have to take into account. So those standards are quite oriented to B2B typology. There is no central repository hosting all information related to the transport chain. And there are different information that is held by different actors. So they have to exchange the information, the required information. Implementation is sometimes quite complex and expensive, and it doesn't provide central closed system where every transport chain actor can interact, but this is the way there are standards, and once we know, we have to take it into account. And these are the outcomes that we have created, we have developed right now. So we have created simple applications. We have developed XML schemas and a messages editor tool. It means that we are able to edit third-party messages schemas following the EDIFACT standards. We can create new message schemas following those standards as well. We can translate between different messages schemas, edit and validate messages against the schema, create new messages from one schema, and import and export messages. So we're gonna extend those XML schemas using web services tool. The web service tool is a service for receiving the EDIFACT messages. It's also a link with the editor tool for editing, translating between schemas and the Excel format. And it's also a tool for manage receive or send messages. And we also have performed a process configurator tool. So it allows us to define processes, and it's a way in which messages can be sent between different partners in different tasks. And this is the way it looks. It's this kind of schema of the XML and the process configurator tool. Okay? At the very end, each actor will be able to communicate with another actor of the corridor directly and with visibility across all the corridor. Okay. And here are some general conclusions derived directly from the pilot and from the FUTUREMED project. So the current situation in the supply chain corridors is far from an optimal exchange of information. In fact, we have been interviewing several stakeholders across this corridor in particular, so I can confirm that the situation is very far from optimal. We need necessary standards. Necessary standards, of course, are already defined, but sometimes they are difficult to implement, so it needs a lot of work and dedication. And integration port-hinterland with the proposed exchange information system will make the Med area ports attractive, dynamic and competitive, as I said. Of course, this particular application can be completely or fully transferable to other Med port and other ports in the Med area. And it's the same results will be transferable not only to the port but also to another corridors in the Mediterranean area. Thank you very much.
Have you considered storing the information at the container level without having any access to the web server or the back office? Because there might be conditions in the supply chain. There's no connection between the container or the container from the back office system.
Yeah, we know. We discussed that, and we developed a workshop a few months ago, and we were discussing this issue. But we haven't considered it's quite complicated, and the focus of the project is more, as Elisa told before, is more focused on visibility and make relations among actors more efficient. So we haven't considered it at the moment. But we discussed, of course. We discussed this issue a few months ago.
Because I'm working with this, I'm making the information available both at the back office and at the free level. And I mean, information can be controlled to synchronize it. You can synchronize the type of information which you want to make visible.
Yeah. In fact, okay, we're beginning to well, these are the first outcomes of the pilot, but there are still some gaps we have identified, and we're trying to deal with them. This is one of the gaps, of course. So let's see. In 1 year, the project is finishing in 2015. Let's see how the developments are going.
And regarding the data exchange, are you able to manage any language? Only English, only Spanish?
They are standard messages. So,
no, but the standard message in
yeah,
a specific
yeah. At the moment we are in a preliminary phase. So at the moment we are dealing with the Spanish corridor.
Yeah.
So when we transfer everything to the Med area, of course it should be translated into several languages.
Yes, because you speak about semantic. And
Yeah,
it
yeah,
should be-
you're right. Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned that it will be transferable to other Mediterranean areas.
Yeah.
Why only Mediterranean? Wouldn't it be transferable?
Okay. The project is in the framework of the Med program. Okay. So.
Yes, but cannot it be transferable to other?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. But I said that because the project is in the framework of FUTUREMED project, which is a Med program. So that our core component is to be transferable to the Med area, but of course we can leverage the issue.
It could be that there are
Yes, of course.
differences that make it not transferable.
Yeah, I got one more question. At the last ECITLs, the common framework on transport logistics was presented. Does your pilot somehow relate to that?
Sorry, the last time.
The common framework for IT and transport logistics has been presented as a result of, I don't know, a couple of IPs that agreed on roles, services, actors. Does
The
it also
E-Freight
affect?
are working with that.
Sorry?
The E-Freight people, they are working with that. They are more into providing a common platform for exchanging information between different actors or different stakeholders.
Yeah, so you have the information, you have the services, you have the actors. That's exactly what is
Yeah.
specified.
I need you for
in the contract.
I need you for the project.
And I was wondering that you use EBXML as a standard, and as far as I know, the common platform, common framework used UBL. So that's another standard.
Yeah, so this is the real question, I think, also from your point of view. I mean, we are kind of developing platforms. We are talking about collaboration. I mean, and it's not obviously it's not particular to your activity, but to a lot of activities where I think everybody has kind of recognized that we need vertical integration, we need a better horizontal integration. But I think what we are still missing is a kind of a consolidation of these different kind of collaboration platforms, and to have also the possibility to interchange. I mean, obviously, I don't know, but this needs to be identified to some extent, whether there are some particularities to the Mediterranean area that kind of enables them to better cooperate, whatever. But in principle, I would guess it doesn't matter whether you're looking to the port of Thessaloniki or Rotterdam or Hamburg or whatever. And most probably the information that is kind of exchanged is more or less of the same nature and the same data feed.
Depends. There are a lot of particularities. For example, well, we're not talking about customs, but customs are quite different from one country to another, and particularities even in ports. So each port, for example, in Spain, each port is following different systems. So Valencia is has a port community system, but not all Spanish ports are connected in the same way. So even in the same country, we have many differences. So imagine the rest of Europe. So
yeah, but I mean, all the ports somehow belong either to the Hong Kong Port Company or to Eurogate, and these are the two big ones, right? There are not much more. I mean, the big ones?
No.
The small and medium, this is the particular.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, this is then something, okay.
Yeah, in fact, at the beginning of the project, we spent a couple of 3 months trying to see similarities and differences among the procedures at the different ports on the Met area. So it was so complicated because each actor interacting in a different way, and they interact with the email, they interact with that, they have different regulations. One port is using the port committee system, the other one is not. So there are many differences.
Yeah, I'd like to add that I think you could standardize in terms of the data set, the data elements, which are to a large extent comparable, the same in different ports, only the procedures locally often are different in terms of different, how the port is organized, how customs does specific controls. So in terms of, let's say, sharing of data itself between one port or port community or system with another, there are a lot of opportunities there. And the Cassandra project, we also apply that in practice, where, let's say, we have this data pipeline concept where, for instance, customs can look into different systems, be it different port community systems, based on, let's say, a standard data set, which is more or less similar in every port or every supply chain logistics platform.
I mean, you said your solution is aimed at being transferable. If you cannot standardize on information, role and services, what can you then transfer?
Well, this is what we are going to transfer, of course. That's the final aim of the project, yes.
Okay. Any other comment? Remark? Thank you. And for the final presentation of this session of today by Salila Tata.